In the near future, the world comes to an apocalyptic end due to pandemics, climate change, water scarcity, and the collapse of power grids. Australia becomes a vast wasteland, except for a small community known as the Green Place of Many Mothers. Furiosa is picking peaches with a friend when they hear a noise. Ignoring her friend's objections, Furiosa goes to investigate and finds a group of motorcycle marauders. She cuts the gas pipe from one of their bikes, but before she can disable another, she is discovered by a biker named Toe Jam. Furiosa stabs his legs and runs away, blowing a whistle to alert the villagers. Unfortunately, the bikers catch up to her and kidnap her using a whip. Furiosa's mother, Mary, and a group of warriors start pursuing the bikers on horseback. They shoot down a biker, and Mary finishes him off with her blade before taking his bike. Before Mary leaves to rescue Furiosa, the village leader gives her ample ammunition and reminds her that no one who knows their home's location must survive. Mary kills another biker from a distance, and the remaining two bikers stop to assess the situation. While they are distracted, Furiosa bites another gas pipe to break it. When the bikers see Mary approaching, they ride away, and Mary takes the opportunity to fix the fallen bike with the stolen one to ensure she has enough gas. The chase continues into the night, and one of the bikes finally runs out of gas. The bikers argue over what to do, giving Furiosa a chance to cut the ropes on her wrists and attempt to escape. Unfortunately, the biker drives toward her and recaptures her. In the morning, Mary notices they've reached the bikers' camp and manages to shoot down another rider, leaving only Toe Jam with Furiosa. He tells his friends he's found a place of abundance and, when he tries to take Furiosa to their leader, she jumps off and throws Toe's weapon into the wheel, causing him to crash. Furiosa and a severely wounded Toe Jam are taken to see the leader, a warlord named Dementus. Toe Jam dies while trying to answer Dementus' questions, and Furiosa tries to kick him, causing the others to pull her back. Refusing to disclose the location of her home, Dementus decides to keep Furiosa and treat her well, hoping to gain her trust through manipulation. Outside the camp, Mary takes the armor from the fallen biker while escaping from an incoming sandstorm. She infiltrates the camp and starts killing people until she finds Furiosa's tent. Mary kills another man but spares the woman cleaning Furiosa, who claims to be a victim and a mother. However, as soon as Mary and Furiosa leave, the woman raises the alarm. A guard shoots at Mary, setting her back on fire, forcing her to stop and shed her burning clothes. They flee on the bike, but Mary hears Dementus and his gang approaching. She tells Furiosa to go home without her, giving her a peach seed to plant later. Mary shoots down a rider but is soon surrounded and overpowered. Hearing the commotion, Furiosa returns and sees the gang hanging Mary on a crucifix-like structure. They torture Mary, demanding to know where she's from, but she refuses to betray her people. Dementus forces Furiosa to watch as his men kill Mary, savoring her tears. Later, Furiosa is kept in a cage, and Dementus forces her to watch their brutal entertainment. They fight each other to decide who will participate in a ritual, and the chosen riders use bikes to dismember a man with chains. Dementus gives Furiosa a teddy bear that belonged to his daughters, but she throws it away in silence. The next day, while riding away, the history man offers to teach Furiosa to read and write to become valuable to Dementus, but she ignores him, deciding to remain silent. One night, Furiosa finds ink in the cage and tattoos a star map on her arm to remember the way home. Days later, Dementus' gang is exploring the wasteland when they see an explosion of red smoke. They ride to the spot and find a war boy, a soldier for Immortan Joe from the Citadel. Dementus asks about the place of abundance, and the war boy, assuming they mean the Citadel, takes them there. When they arrive at the Citadel, all the slaves scatter in fear. Dementus demands to see the leader, threatening harm if they don't comply but offering freedom and riches if they do. Immortan Joe, the leader, appears and his assistant asks Dementus to select a war boy for further negotiations. A boy is chosen, paints his teeth, and leaps off a bridge, sliding down wires before dying in an explosion. Joe's assistant explains that all war boys are willing to die for Joe. After the leaders retreat, the war boys attack Dementus' gang. Many men are killed, bikes are stolen, and Furiosa's cage is taken. The slaves free her and the history man, but Dementus rescues them just in time, forcing his gang to retreat. Later, Dementus and his group arrive at Gastown, the second fortress in the wasteland. They wait for a convoy to leave and ambush it, killing all the guards. Some bikers disguise themselves as war boys and drive the convoy back to Gastown while Dementus and the rest follow, pretending they are under attack. The gatekeepers initially refuse to open the gates, suspecting something is wrong. Dementus starts killing his disguised men to make it look real, prompting the gates to open to save the convoy. More gang members hidden in the truck emerge, overpowering the gatekeepers and opening the gates for Dementus and his warriors, who then take over the town. They send the finger of Gastown's leader to Immortan Joe, who agrees to a meeting. Dementus arrives with the town's leader, torturing him with a device connected to his nipples. The leader pleads for mercy, but Joe's sons attack, and Dementus kills the leader, losing his nipples in the process. He then reveals he has planted bombs all over Gastown and threatens to blow it up unless he is named the leader. Joe, however, is more interested in Furiosa, who denies being Dementus' daughter and reveals that he killed her mother. Eventually, Joe agrees to let Dementus have Gastown in exchange for Furiosa and a biker. Reluctantly, Dementus agrees and leaves. Joe announces that Furiosa will become one of his wives, and she is taken to live with his harem. The other women are kind, but Furiosa is forced to witness Joe's abuse. One woman gives birth to a girl, and Joe declares the wife a disappointment because he only wants sons. Joe's son frequently harasses Furiosa, creeping her out. In private, Furiosa reveals she still has her mother's peach seed. She cuts her hair and makes a wig to conceal it. When Joe's son tries to take advantage of her, she escapes, leaving the wig behind. While hiding under a bridge, Joe's son searches for her but is seen by his brother, who discards the wig and leaves. Furiosa disguises herself as a boy and is accepted as a worker. Her climbing and jumping skills soon earn her a place among the mechanics handling the chains for old vehicles. 15 years pass, and Furiosa remains undiscovered by pretending to be mute and participating in Joe's loyalty rituals. One day, the mechanics build a new powerful war rig with a huge drill called the Bommy Knocker. Praetorian Jack, the most successful road warrior, is chosen to drive it. On its maiden voyage, the rig is ambushed by former members of Dementus' gang who have gone rogue. They use parachutes attached to bikes to attack from above. War boys are killed one by one, some sacrificing themselves for the rig. Jack continues driving, running over bikers and war boys alike. Furiosa, part of the convoy, ends up under the rig, avoiding an enemy bomb. She takes over fixing the damage after the mechanic is killed. As the attackers place dynamite under the rig, Furiosa kicks it away and disables the explosive. Bikers start climbing the rig, but Furiosa finishes the repairs, allowing Jack to drive faster and shake off some enemies while the war boys kill others. Despite their efforts, the war boys are overwhelmed and killed, making sacrifices in Joe's name to reach Valhalla. As a truck explodes and crashes into the front of the rig, the impact causes Furiosa to lose her hat. She emerges from under the rig, and Jack finally sees the truth. Suddenly, the bikers draw nearer, prompting Furiosa and Jack to start shooting at them to protect their vehicle. Furiosa then uses her mechanical arm to kill a biker on a kite, and when another approaches on a flying bike, she shoots an arrow into his leg. She instructs the last war boy to activate the drill and hides behind the hatch as the final flying enemy is killed by the drill's suction. Before dying, he fires one last bullet that kills the remaining war boy. Afterward, Furiosa threatens Jack with a gun, demanding he stop the rig. Jack pushes her off and drives away, only to return on foot minutes later. He confesses he's lost everything and offers to start anew with her, praising her as a warrior and dismissing her gender. When Jack promises to teach her everything about surviving on the road, Furiosa agrees to team up with him. From then on, Furiosa becomes Jack's right hand, and they travel together while doing Joe's runs. One day, they stop at Gastown for fuel and find the place in disarray due to Dementus' poor leadership and the dwindling supplies. Dementus sees Furiosa but doesn't recognize her due to her age. He requests a meeting with the warlords, and Jack agrees to deliver the message to Joe. Before they can leave, civilians begin rioting. Jack's group escapes with Furiosa at the wheel while Jack shoots anyone who gets too close. They manage to exit through the gate, but Furiosa is stabbed in the shoulder. Jack tends to her wound with care. Upon returning to the Citadel, they deliver Dementus' message. Joe's assistant and sons argue over their next move, and Joe orders Jack to gather all the weapons they can find from Bullet Farm. Later, Jack stitches Furiosa's wound and asks about her tattoo while sharing how his parents died. He expresses a desire to help her find the place of abundance, and Furiosa shows him the seed, asking him to join her. The next day, they leave for Bullet Farm, with Jack having Furiosa drive one of the guard trucks instead of the rig. Upon arrival, they find that Dementus and his men have already arrived. Jack signals Furiosa to retreat through the gate, but the other truck is crushed, and the rig is trapped inside. Jack starts shooting people while Furiosa kills the gatekeeper and helps her friend by shooting through the gate. After seeing Furiosa, Jack re-enters the rig and hits the gate, allowing Furiosa to drive the truck and wait for him. Instead of joining her, Jack fires a green smoke bomb to call for reinforcements and drives forward, crushing enemies and activating the drill. Disappointed, Furiosa attempts to drive away but feels guilty and returns, sneaking into the farm as a sniper. Dementus dodges her shots, but she kills several others before her last bullet grazes Dementus's skin. Jack then uses the rig to destroy structures, leaving Dementus hanging on the edge of a bridge. A tower collapses on the rig, causing it to get stuck in a hole. Jack climbs out before it falls, and Furiosa rescues him with a hook. They escape and plan to follow Furiosa's map. Meanwhile, Dementus is rescued by an excavator and orders his men to pursue Jack and Furiosa, breaking through the gate with a monster truck. They soon catch up, and a gunfight ensues. Dementus's truck pulls alongside Furiosa's car, crushing her tattooed arm between the vehicles. The monster truck then hits the car, causing it to crash. The duo is captured, with Jack tied to the back of a bike and dragged around, slowly being tortured to death. Furiosa is hung from the back of the truck by her wounded arm and forced to watch Jack die. For the next few hours, Dementus sits on his truck, watching the bikers drive in a circle, creating a dust cloud. When he grows bored, he checks on Furiosa and discovers she has escaped by leaving her arm behind and using the dust cloud as cover. He tries to pursue her but finds she tied the truck's chain to a wheel, which breaks off when he starts the engine. Eventually, the bike Furiosa stole runs out of gas, forcing her to walk under the scorching sun until she passes out. A Citadel guard finds her and takes her back. A healer applies maggots to her wounds to prevent infection, and as soon as she awakens, she demands to see Joe. In Jack's memory, she uses the name Praetorian Furiosa and informs Joe that Dementus is coming with many firearms. Smoke can be seen in the distance, and Furiosa explains that Dementus is burning Gastown on purpose to lure Joe away and leave the Citadel exposed. Joe decides to pretend to go to Gastown to trick Dementus, and Furiosa asks to be allowed to kill him. Minutes later, Dementus sees a convoy heading to Gastown and announces they're going to the Citadel. Joe's assistant then signals the trucks to return. For the next 40 days, a war rages on the road, with Dementus's and Joe's men killing each other in various brutal ways. Meanwhile, Furiosa builds a mechanical arm to replace her lost one and shaves her head. She then asks the mechanics for a vehicle. There is only one car left in the Citadel, missing a wheel, but she takes it anyway. She finds the spot where Joe's sons are fixing their cars to continue the war and steals one while the history man names her the fifth rider of the apocalypse. Some days later, Dementus is riding with his few remaining men and suddenly notices two were shot down. He sees a car coming so he tells his crew to split to try to ambush it. Furiosa starts driving fast and hits bikes with her car to bring them down, then she goes after the main vehicle. However, it's an old guy wearing Dementus' cape as bait. She grabs the cape and pushes the guy anyway, killing him in a pit of quicksand. Afterward, she watches the bikers to try to find Dementus and notices a guy with long hair, but when he falls she sees it was another disguise. All the other bikers run to help him to keep up with the plan and Furiosa guesses the only biker driving away is Dementus. Moments later, Dementus wakes up under the fabric he's using to hide and discovers his water bottle has been slashed. When he comes out, Furiosa is waiting for him and Dementus tries to shoot her, but he's out of bullets. He tries running away, however when he sees the car following him, he falls to his knees and surrenders. Furiosa comes out wearing his cape and asks if he remembers her, but Dementus only sees her as Jack's partner and steals her knife. It turns out to be just a broken handle and his distraction allows Furiosa to knock him out. When Dementus wakes up, he's been chained up. Furiosa tells him about all the death and pain he caused to her and her mother 15 years ago, but Dementus doesn't get it and thinks she's just another random victim of his. Then Furiosa starts beating him up, yet Dementus keeps on monologuing. Suddenly he has a seizure and falls to the sand. Furiosa activates her arm and cuts the chains to take the bear, causing Dementus to finally realize who she is. He offers her to team up and be great warlords together, however Furiosa drops the bear and finally gets her revenge. Some people say she shoots him in the head, others that she drags him at the back of her car and drops him on a tree like he did to her mother. Actually, Furiosa brings him into the Citadel and secretly uses him to plant Mary's seed, which grows into a peach tree by using Dementus as nutrients. Once they have fruit, she helps Joe's wives escape in a truck, which triggers the previous movie Fury Road.